Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Hussein Asiri from Hawiyati's degree project page. And today, my special guest is Mr. Yonis Attiya, the person who I was waiting to interview. And thankfully, he responded. And now I'm here interviewing him. Before I start, hello, Yusuf. Yonis, sorry. Thank you for being my guest today.
Thank you for having me, Hussein. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
So who is Yonis Attiya? Today you will discover the real Yonis before even being a starting owner for Limefish Designs. Of course, we will talk about Limefish Designs. Let's just start, Yonis, from the very beginnings when you were a high school graduate, and you, of course, just like anyone else, university comes next. And what did you choose to pursue?
Yeah, so basically I was, as everyone, confused. I didn't know what to do. Maybe back in my days, it was more vague. Now it's more clear now. You can easily do research online. You can find things. Back in the days, it was kind of difficult. When I was in high school, the internet was very young. It doesn't have a lot of information regarding what to study, and I didn't know anyone who went to college, and I can ask, and I didn't have any guide. So my only guide I had was from my parents, and my parents want what they think is best for me. And my uncle is an engineer, and my cousin is an engineer. My other cousin is an engineer. So we have a big family of engineers. So it was very kind of obvious, and now this is the way you should go. So I found myself studying civil engineering in University of Bahrain. And before even that, when I was in high school, when I was in middle school, I loved design. I loved doing design work. And I didn't even know what design is, but I used to do things, produce publications, do images, do designs, even before the internet. I used to just love doing that. I have even a small printer at home. I used to print things and make posters. It was very random. There's no purpose. It was a hobby for me. And I never thought one day it will become a career. No one did back then, because what is design? You know, it's you'll do science. It's not something people will. It's not a good career to have back then. It had a really not good reputation. So, but I kept doing it. I kept doing it even when I was studying the engineering. Engineering was very difficult for me because I really hate math. I'm really bad at math. And for some reason, I managed to get a diploma in civil engineering. And then I tried to continue my bachelor. It was very difficult. And I kind of gave up in the last year. And I remember I was doing my final exams. I knew I'm going to fail. It's going bad. I already failed a few courses in the first semester. Second semester, I was like, that's it. This is where I'm going to kick it out from university. And I remember I went to, I remember Bahrain Polytechnic was just started in my last year.
I guess so, in 2008.
I am not good with math. Don't ask me about numbers, but I think it was 2009, 9 and 10. Yeah, I think 2010, end of 2010 maybe. And so I went to Bahrain Polytechnic. It was just started, and I asked around, and I found out they have a visual design program. I was like, wow, this thing exists in Bahrain. And then I just signed up immediately. I went there, I registered. I was still enrolling in University of Bahrain. I was still supposed to do my exams.
So you were to do the final exams.
Yeah, and I ignored my final exams. I did one exam, and then I went to registration because I was on the same campus. I went to the registration. I did registered in visual design, and they told me you need to submit a portfolio and all these documents. So instead of going and studying for my next exam, I went to prepare that. And the next day I came and I submitted everything, and I stopped taking my exams. I completely I'm on vacation now. and I did not tell anyone, not even my mom.
Interesting.
Yes. I was like, it's like
What
finding
gave
a
you
hope.
hope that they will accept you? Because visual design is
Yeah,
very competitive,
it
and
is. It
they
is.
don't accept
I
only
took a
20,
risk.
25. Yes.
I took a risk. There's nothing that can get it. I didn't know what their standards are. I didn't know anyone who went there. I went into the second batch. So no one graduated from visual design yet. And I didn't know anyone who enrolled in the first batch anyway. So there's no way to know anything about it. So I just winged it. So yeah, I got my acceptance. So I went to my mom first one. I told her I have good news and bad news. Bad news.
Start with the good news first.
No, I started with the bad news. Bad news. I'm
Oh,
out of UOB. Khalas. I'm not doing. I stopped going to exams and I failed everything and I quit basically. And the good news is I got accepted in visual design, and my parents were like mixed feelings. It felt like mixed emotions basically. Then I found myself doing visual design. I was the only male in my class. I don't know if it's still the same nowadays.
so I mean, now in my batch there are only 2 to 3, but still it's mostly
Still very low.
our
Yeah,
visual design.
we had 1 or 2 males, but
Not every finishes.
they kept reducing numbers. They either quit or they repeat a year and then. So yeah, so if even all the tutors are females, which is funny. But yeah, during then I found out that my grades got much better, and I realized that I wasn't a lazy or a bad student. I was just in the wrong place. My grades were good. It could have been better. I'm not saying I have the best because I was still working. I was still doing freelancing work. Design became a clear path for me. I started doing serious work with it while studying it, applying what I learned directly. And once I graduated, it was very obvious for me that I couldn't fit in any job. I tried the internship. It was not a good experience. I did some freelancing or part-time jobs in different places, did not like the environment. I did not like the way they've been managing the work and the team. I want things in my own way. I joined also Isaac as an international student organization, and I learned a lot from them about leadership, learned about how to make people work, managing them. It was a great experience for me. We get to travel,
I agree. It's very interesting. And I advise, honestly, the youth to join these programs. It helps develop your leadership. Yes.
Yeah. So this, with the knowledge that I have, the experience I have from my freelance and what I've learned from Isaac, it was a very clear path. It was like, khalas, you start a business, My last year, I remember in visual design, there was an event in the Polytechnic about entrepreneurship. It was in November 2013 or 14, I can't remember, but it was part of the Global Entrepreneurship Week. It's an international thing, and Bahrain is participating. So there's a lot of events. So Polytechnic decided to do this event, and they brought people from different entities like Tamkeen, Ministry of Commerce, sorry, different investor companies, angel investors. They all telling us about how to do things and what events they offer to people, because it was for senior students who are wishing to start their own business once they graduate. And I tried to join everything there. I joined a startup weekend competition. I joined a startup boot camp, part of the Bahrain Chambers. And this boot camp taught me things. Startup weekend competition taught me a lot of things. And this is where Limefish came from, that competition, actually, the name Limefish, the branding.
Interesting, because I was very fascinated. What does Limefish mean? So it's out of the competition.
So basically, this competition it's like a hackathon thing.
Okay.
Where you have a weekend, you need to finish, or they put you in teams, and every team have to come up with the business. They have the idea, very initial idea of a business. And I was with Mr. Ahmed Al-Rawi. He was with his team. I don't know if you know him. He's currently the CEO of Calo. the
I know
food.
Kala because it's one
Yeah,
of the clients.
yeah. He did a different project as well before that, but this is where I met him first time. And his idea was to build a center for freelancers. So I resonated with that idea because it's as a freelancer. Also, with the team we had Umar Farouk. It was before he became an influencer.
But he became famous, right?
And it was a very weird mix of people. And we started working and we came up with that concept. We wanted something with Bahraini name, but with an international feel to it. So Bahrain is famous with the sea. So the talents, the freelancers, we resembled them with fish. So this is where the fish came, and we had an interesting naming style for that. Safi, Machbous, not Machbous, Safi, Hamur, like naming scheme for different tiers of people. Anyway, so we finished with that competition. We got the name Limefish because we wanted something creative as a name. It was a lime green fish, but we removed the green. It was too long, and I love the name Limefish. So we won this competition. We got one, I don't know, second or third place we got. And then, but it never realized, the project never came into place. Every one of us went to their own thing. I went back to my design thing. Umar Farouk went to social media. Rawi went to his tech startup thing. And then I wanted to find a name for my design studio, and I couldn't find a name. While brainstorming, I was thinking, I wish I can find a name like Limefish. It was a really good name. And then I took it. Of course, I asked my colleagues, I asked the team if it's okay to use that. And they said, it's fine. It's not being used anyway. It was a good name. I really loved it. And now, this is a long story, but the short story, there's so much fish in the sea, but there is only one unique limefish. So it's like, that's a very creative way of thinking of being unique. And lime green, or the color lime, consists of two colors, which is yellow and green. And green means good, growth. Yellow means energy and youth. So when you put them together, you get lime. So that's it's a name that has a flavor into it. You know, it's interesting. So that's Limefish. Cool. So this is how Limefish started. Once I graduated from Bahrain Polytechnic Visual Design, immediately started. It was an idea of, I'll just be a freelancing. I'm not gonna go into the business thing. I'm applying these things, but it was just still a freelance. This is what I love to do. But with time, more work, more clients started coming. I had to grow. So I asked someone who studied with me, Fatma, my colleague. She was my first employee now. Oh. And
she's a shout out.
Yeah. She used to study with me, and hired her. It wasn't like a serious formal hire. It was like, hey, you want to come help me? Have some clients. I have so much work. I don't have time. I'm going to pay you for the work you do. Sure, why not? And then we started working until we hired a third person the same way. Okay. It was Yusuf Al-Gattan as well. He was a colleague with me in design. And then it kept coming. We kept growing. I still remember we bought our first Mac. We got the office. It was very interesting.
Office. I remember in the first place it was different.
There's so much details. I don't think I have the time for everything, but
the most
then we realized we have to register this. So we got the CR. We registered ourselves as an establishment. We can actually do legit business, and we build relationships with clients. My goal was to work with startups at the beginning and help them grow, and we grow with them. And then it's expanded. We got a really good reputation. Our work was really good. People loved our work. We started getting bigger clients, and even government started approaching us. And here we are today.
Yes. Limefish, because we all know Limefish, and especially now lately, you are the only design agency, or I believe maybe company in Bahrain, that works only 4 days a week.
Yeah.
Yes. So Yonis, what inspired you to do the shift and this new decision?
Okay. It's multiple reasons. It wasn't like one thing that, okay, let's do it.
Okay.
We had we had, since I started, as I mentioned, I wanted to build a place, an environment, a workspace that I really enjoy working in. And it's not just me, of course, the team as well. We find people who resonate with the same vision, the same way we want to work. Usually agencies, always, not all of them, most of them, put the client first. They always try to do everything to please the client. I took a different approach. I put the designer first, the team first. So, and I saw how that got reflected in the work, the quality of work, especially. Because if you give what does the designer want? Well, they want appreciation. They want learning opportunity. So you provide that, they produce better work. You know, happy designers make better designs. And I can see that happening. So that's one part of it. You know, we've been always doing things are very flexible. We don't have the bunch in, bunch out from the office, the studio. It's very flexible. You want to work from home today, it's fine. You want to take a day off, it's fine. It's very flexible work environment. And that's one part of it. Second part of it, thinking about, I heard in the news that other countries or other companies in other countries did the 4 days. And I've been reading about it.
United Arab Emirates, I believe they also.
Before. This is very new. It's way before the UAE did it. Yeah. In Europe and in Japan, some companies started or thinking about started. You hear it in the news. You look at it in the headlines. And I read about it and I was like, okay, this sounds interesting. I've been thinking about it, but it wasn't that it was like, okay, I think it's a good idea, but maybe not now, maybe one day in the future. Then we hired a designer and that had 2 jobs, and we really wanted a designer, an expert designer. She came temporarily to help us with the branding work that we do. And she had another job. She do her own home business. So she wanted a day off from the week. So she wanted to come 4 days a week, basically. So she can have 3 days a week, other home business. And because we really needed that person. She's really good. She's really talented. We agreed to her terms. And I noticed that her productivity, if it's not the same as the rest of the team, might be better, even though she works less hours, less days. And it was a kind of proof to me that maybe if we let everyone do the same, we can get the same productivity as well. And I started researching, looking through this. I did not see any article or research that said that this is a bad idea. Everyone online, especially, everyone was saying that it's actually good. It increases productivity. And then, so I decided to do it. And I gathered the team and I told them about it. And I told them this decision in a way that, here's the deal. I want you guys to work 4 days a week, but I want you to produce the 5 days work or amount of work in these 4 days.
Didn't you think that it might be a challenge at first, because how can I do 5 days work in 4 days period?
I gave them that challenge, and basically what I told them, it's basically a week amount of work. It's the same work, because during the day you don't work 100% the whole day. Sometimes you slow down. Sometimes you procrastinate. You procrastinate. Yeah, you go watch YouTube. You forget yourself on Instagram. You do these small little things. Maybe they don't take a lot of time, but if you combine them, it actually adds up. So basically, I told them, if you finish the whole week work or the tasks of this week, and if you finished it all, then next week you don't come on Sunday, you come on Monday as a gift. If you did not finish your work, then you come on Sunday.
Okay, so I see that.
You see now? You see what I did? So that was the idea. It was if you this week you came on Sunday, so you're probably gonna finish the work till Thursday. So when you finish it, next week you get a Monday. You get a Sunday off. So you come on Monday, and then you have 4 days only to do the same amount of work. If you manage to do that, so I told them we were gonna do this in 2 months, see how it will go,
right?
And then we're gonna decide. We'll decide either we cancel it, go back to the normal, or we don't know what will happen. We never did this. No one ever did this. So let's try it out and see. And during these 2 months, I see the amount of work, it's the same. The quality of work got much better. People are happier. They come after a 3 days weekend with a fresh mind, a clear head. They have more time to do things for themselves, for their families. They go out, they do their hobbies. Someone started cooking, someone going to the gym.
Interesting. So at least
they're taking care of themselves.
Yes.
Exactly. They're taking care of themselves. Their mental health got better. You come into the office, everyone's smiling, happy. There's music playing. There's energy. The energy there it got much better. So they are actually. So it's a reason that okay, it's actually working. So after these 2 months, we announced it.
Okay.
Yes.
So it wasn't announced. I thought it was announced the first time it came out.
No. After these 2 months, we announced it. We told the press. I know a friend who works in a press. I told him, this is a press release. Can you put it up in the newspaper? And it went viral. I did not expect it to go this way. I was like,
very huge back then. I remember last year.
Yeah.
Or the year before. Yeah, last
2
year.
years. I think 2 years. It's been 2 years.
Okay, so now this situation has been going on from before once the coronavirus pandemic started.
Yeah, it was with it. It has nothing to do with COVID, but a lot of people connected it with it.
Yeah, online.
Has nothing. It's something that I want to do for the team, and then we did the press release. I did not expect it to go this viral.
Limefish does many branding projects for different clients. And since you are, of course, a visual designer and entrepreneur in the same time, how would you define branding in your perspective? Because we know some people here might misunderstand branding.
To me, in a short answer, branding is the idea that people have about you. That's what's branding to me, at least. It's what people think of you as a person, you as a company, as an establishment, as an organization. So what we do as designers, we say that we do branding, but if we are really doing branding, in my definition, we are doing brainwashing. Because how would you put an idea in someone's head? You have to brainwash them. So we don't do that. We don't do branding and that actually let people brainwash people to believe in that you are the best brand or you are the best company or best products. What we do, we influence them, and we influence them through through design, basically through the elements of branding that we create, such as the logo, the typeface, the colors, theme, all of that. So that's what I think branding is. So it's kind of an interesting way to look at branding, because branding is not just something you look at, it's something in the minds of people and the hearts of people, what they think about you. So I can give you an example here. You know how McDonald's been accused for not being healthy. So what they did is they started adding images of greens, vegetables, these photos that they look fresh. They added elements of green color. They participated with sports events such as the Olympics, the World Cup. So they're trying to influence people to think of them as a healthy choice. You see what I did there? So that's what they did.
Try to get into their minds and think of But McDonald's, don't think of it as healthy, and even kids, because we know McDonald's. That's
what the design looks like. They're trying to. I'm not saying they succeeded. I'm not saying that I agree or disagree. I'm just giving an example, and it was a campaign. It's not an ongoing thing. So that's what branding, also marketing, comes in general. But branding is a really good because it's a foundation, and that's the reason why we love branding. Why we choose branding. When I started Limefish, I was thinking about, okay, we're going to do social media. It's a digital agency. We have to be the future. Then I realized there is no foundation. There is no, because that's the basic. Branding is the basics. When you started a business, you have nothing. You have maybe a product, you have a few customers. Without a branding, there is no connection. And there's, I just remember also a really good definition of branding. It's a profitable relationship between a client or a customer and your company or a brand. That is branding. You know, it has to be profitable. It has to be consistent. It has to be sustainable. So without that, a business will fall apart, you know, or if you just leave the branding goes naturally or organically, let people think what they think. I'm just doing my thing. There is no guidance.
Yeah.
It might get lost. It might, not stable. People might get confused. What do you do exactly? I don't. So who are you serving? What are you serving? What kind of customers? All because that's what branding is for. That's what defines these things. When we do branding for companies, and companies already started, and we go through the brand strategy exercise with them, they learn about themselves more than we're doing this for their customers, for their clients, but then they realize, oh, we should have done this years ago. So much thing we're missing here. So here we go. That's branding. That's what does it for you.
I love this point of view because as we also know, Yonis, there are lots of companies, or specifically, let's say, small businesses who didn't have a strong branding. And let's give an example. Let's say now in the pandemic, okay, kids started opening maybe online shops on Instagram, or even adults. Okay, it's the pandemic, let me just do any business. But when I look at them, I don't see there's a clear brand strategy, as you mentioned. Mm-hmm. There is no thought behind the brand. It might be repetitive, couldn't be unique, or it didn't think outside the box, especially that now everything has become mainstream. There's nothing in news about how you as a person or as entrepreneur distinguish it from the other competitor. Yeah. And now, Yonis, you mentioned, especially now we are in the digital age. Now we have TikTok. Let's not forget the power of how it's addicting, and it's the trend. But there's still Instagram and Snapchat, but Facebook might be too old, maybe for my generation now. So as Limefish, I'm sure also you do social media. Are you present in social media platforms like TikTok, for example, now?
No.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I feel about social media.
Okay.
You're studying visual design.
Yes.
Have you done any social media courses?
Not really, but I've done like advertising.
No, that's not social media. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I started with Limefish, I thought, as I said earlier, I will start with doing social media content and digital agency, and then I realized there is a lot of agencies that does that. That's one. Second, there is no foundation. There's no branding. People don't know what branding is. How are you going to do content if you don't have branding? So branding is more important. I realized that. And the third thing, I did not study social media. I studied design. I studied visual design. So what I noticed that it's lacking. We don't have that knowledge yet. Not in my team, at least. I'm sure other agencies, other studios, they do it really well. So I decided I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do social media. And right till today, Limefish does not do social media services. We don't do social media marketing. We don't do social media management or account handling. What we do is content. We do post design. We do animation work for you, and then you post it. You know where or when or how to do that. You realize how the content will go out. We're not experts in that field, so why would I go and say people, yes, I am a social media, I'm a marketing expert? No, I'm not. I do design, and that's it. And branding is something we focused on because we studied it, and we continue learning about it. But with social media and marketing, it's so fast. Today we have TikTok, tomorrow we'll have something else. So you have to keep up with that. And it doesn't go with the way I grow my business. It doesn't go with the way because we always go back to the roots. When we design, we look at design principles. We look at art movements. We look at the history. And when you look at all designs, posters from the First World War or Second World War, you see beautiful work. We don't see it now because social media and these things, it's all about quick, fast turnover. You do it today, you submit it tomorrow. You do it in 1 hour, submit it next hour. That doesn't work with what we do, because what we work with is something that sustains, something that should stay forever. And that's why branding comes in place, because branding is something when you do, you feel proud about, and then it continues, it goes for years and years. But when you do a social media post or a campaign, 1 week, 2 weeks, it disappears. You don't see it anymore. People don't stop talking about it. It goes away.
Or just a trend, Yonis.
It's a trend. So that's why I don't see Limefish going with the trends as much as going with the roots, going with the real thing, the real deal. And branding works really perfect. It's aligned really well with that vision.
Yes, this is why when I looked at your page, there wasn't any maybe services specifically in social media, as you said, just content design or posting.
We're using our Instagram as a portfolio.
As a portfolio to showcase the work, yes.
Yeah, that's it.
And I'm sure also I saw you do a lot of tutorials, workshops in Limefish to teach interns. Right? Yes.
Yes.
This is what also distinguishes Limefish. And Bahraini, I believe it's only Bahraini team in Limefish. So it's all about the local talents and creativity.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, we believe that if you're designing something for Bahrain, you need to be Bahraini. You need to understand the culture. And we do get interns not from Bahrain. We do get part-time people or temporary designers, not Bahrainis, because you need to mix things a little bit. You don't want to put yourself in the same box. So we do have non-Bahraini designers coming in usually, but the main team is mostly Bahrainis, or at least Arabs. They need to speak the language. They need to even if okay, you're not Bahraini, you want to apply for Limefish, that's okay. It's as long as you understand the culture, you lived here at least 5-10 years. I don't know. You understand the slang, you know it's not about the national. I don't care about where are you from, where you're born. It's, do you understand the target audience? Do you understand when I say this word or that word, do you know what it means? That's the main important thing.
Yeah. That's why I also recall your vacancy adverts. I think before 2 years, like interesting. إذا أنت بحريني وتعرف الصامة وترسم, join Limefish, or at least we're gonna make you do something you love, which is very important, I believe, because you might do something that you might not love.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I believe you also have, of course, not just visual designers. There's web media graduates, marketing. And by the way, now Bahrain Polytechnic will open a new major, digital marketing. This is where they will teach social media.
Also filmmaking.
Film and animation.
Very excited.
Some people were like, I wish it was back then, but
I would have definitely went to film and animation back then.
With a lot of creative film directors nowadays. So Yonis, I've learned a lot from you as a person and as an interviewer who wants to learn, as they say, be greedy for knowledge. And you always learn from someone who is experienced and into this field. Yonis, before I end this episode, what is your piece of advice for people who are graduates from university and they don't know what's next? Like they want to open up a business, but they are hesitant. What would you give?
My advice is that you should not expect to get a job from your certificate. That's a big misconception. It doesn't work anymore. Focus on your portfolio. Very, very important. And if you're studying in in Bahrain Polytechnic visual design, you will be lucky that they are forcing you to do one. But if you are studying somewhere else, even if you are web media, if you are marketing, even if you are not even a creative industry, work on a portfolio. I interviewed a guy for a business management role a few days ago, and I told him, why don't you consider making a portfolio? And he said, well, I'm not a designer. Why would I make a portfolio? Because you can do a portfolio from everything. It's what is a portfolio? It's a document that showcases your achievements, things you cannot put in your CV because your CV will be too big, you know. So your CV, it's a cover for your portfolio. But the portfolio, you can, like I told him what achievements you did. He told me a lot of things. It's like if you put these on in a portfolio, you will get a lot of interviews because no one does that, you know? So work on your portfolio. If you are a designer, obviously your portfolio is a main thing. And don't just limit the portfolio to work from school, things you did as projects. No, try to freelance, try to do free work, do concepts, do work while studying. You have a summer vacation every year. What are you doing in that time? If you're just having fun the whole time, why don't you do something that will mainly secure you a job? You can get a part-time, get an internship, work for free. Don't wait till you graduate and then it hits you that you have nothing.
Yeah.
Start building network relationship, let people know you, let people see your work. It's easier than ever now with social media as well, so use that. That's my advice.
Interesting. And since you mentioned now the power of social media, let's not also forget the online courses where you can take on your phone to learn more new skills, not just in design, in every different aspect, especially. Yeah. And of course, thank you, Mr. Yonis Attiya, for this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you, Hussein. Thank you for having me. It's been fun to talk with you.
Me too. And I hope you all also will learn from Mr. Yonis and apply his ideas and techniques. Because as they say, start now. Don't wait for later. Don't procrastinate.
True.
Thank you so much. And I hope you all have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you. And good luck in your project.